Chapter 10. Back to the marquee. At 1:10 the next morning, John was dreaming. He dreamt that he was running down a moonlit road across no man's land, chasing after a wooden box on the back of a horse and cart. The box had 2 holes at one end with a pair of feet poking out, complete with red shoes. A woman dressed as a highwayman galloped up on a black horse and pointed her pistol at the driver of the wagon. There was a loud bang from a discharged firearm, but it was she, the robber, who was shot. The driver cracked his whip, and he and the horse and cart sped off into the night. The box fell onto the road and smashed to bits, revealing its contents, a human skeleton. The highwaywoman crouched down by the remains of the box while holding a blood-drenched hand to her shoulder. She had long, straight, blonde hair, and when she turned her head to speak, he could see that it was Susan. "This is all wrong. That was me in there, but I don't wear red shoes." "No!" shouted John as he woke, covered in sweat. He sat on the edge of the bed, took a swig from a bottle of water, held his head in his hand and asked himself, what was that all about? He drank some more water and headed for the shower. Minutes later he was drying himself when his mobile phone rang. "Hello? Susan, is that you?" "No, I was awake already. I just had a stupid dream, that's all. Thank God you're okay." "Are you okay?" "Right, I'll come straight away." "You at Herbert Street?" "I'll be there in less than half an hour." It took him 3 minutes to dress and clean his teeth. He grabbed his suitcase, car keys, a mobile phone and hurried down the stairs to his car. During the short journey along the A41 bypass, he opened the window, shook his head a few times to revive himself and shouted, "I'm awake! I'm awake!" at the night sky, and then, "More than you are, you silly sod," at a fox that darted in front of his car. By the time he arrived at Herbert Street, he was fully alert. He knocked on the door, which was opened immediately. "Susan," he said, going up the steps with open arms. "Come here. I need to hold you right now, please." Instead, she stepped backwards and gestured for him to come in. "What's the matter?" he asked as he dropped his suitcase in the hall and followed her into the kitchen. "Has something happened? You seem strange, different." He stopped as she lit a cigarette. "You are different. I've never seen you smoking." "Actually, you've never seen me at all. I'm not Susan. I'm her sister." "What?" "We're identical twins." "No." "Yes." "I don't believe it. You, me, we're in love." "No, we're not. You're in love, pretty obviously, but with Susan, not with me. I'm Lindsay, her sister Lindsay." "Has she got one of these?" She removed her coat and showed him a tattoo of a scorpion on her right shoulder. "It's real, not painted on. Watch." She caught some water from the tap and rubbed her arm. "All right, I believe you. You are amazingly alike. Why are you wearing Susan's clothes?" Without her coat, he could see that she was wearing a bright green satin dress. "Oh, I understand. You work with Zoldini as well. That's how the trick was done." "I'm impressed. Susan said you were intelligent." "But where is she? And why are you here?" "The answer to your first question is, I don't know. Secondly, the reason I'm here is because I always meet up with my sister after the performance. It's a sort of reassurance for each other, an emotional safety check. She always finishes some while after me, so I can come here and get a bit of supper ready for her. Only she hasn't come. She's never missed our after the show get-together, not once. That's why I'm worried." "Well, I don't know where she is. Wait a minute. When you called me just now, why didn't you ask if she was with me?" "How did you know she wasn't?" "Hey, don't get all suspicious. I knew because when you answered, you said, 'Is that you, Susan?' So, because you thought I was her, I asked you to come here." "I didn't want to try and explain the situation over the phone. You wouldn't have believed me anyway." "No, I wouldn't. I can hardly believe it now." He was standing opposite her. He couldn't help remembering when he stood in the kitchen looking at Susan in almost the same position less than 3 days before. "How worried are you? You're beginning to scare me." "I'm scared too." "We should call the police." John followed Lindsay as she left the kitchen and sat down at the bottom of the stairs. "There is a small problem with that," she said, putting her elbows on her knees and her chin in her hands. "Firstly, the police have a system of not carrying out a search for 24 hours. That is, with a case like this, where we have no definite reason to think she is in danger. Secondly, Susan and I, And all Zoldini's employees, for that matter, get paid a lot deal of money for what we do, which is great, but we get paid in arrears, and there is a clause in the contract that if we reveal any secrets or attract any publicity, we get paid nothing. Zilch. So that's why I don't want the police and the press involved, yet. And I'm sure Susan wouldn't want it either. Have you any idea where she might be? I mean, did she say anything? No, I assumed she was going off with her mates. Those mates all work for Zoldini too. There's never any hen night. She usually parts with them when no one is looking and heads for home in the car. She might have looked a bit tipsy, but that's part of the act. She would never drink and drive. John took a piece of paper out of his pocket. The only thing I have is a note from her saying she would see me tomorrow. Well, I mean today. Lindsay read it and looked directly at John. Look, can we look for her together? If we don't succeed, then we'll call the police. All right, but when do we call them? Whenever you say. I'll go along with your instincts. Where do we start? Well, I think we should go back to the marquee. It could be something quite simple. She may not be able to start the car, and she's probably not answering her phone because she nearly always has a flat battery. Talking of phones, I see you've got yours. I'll take mine as well. Yours will have already saved my number. I got your number from this, in case you were wondering. She held out one of his cards that he had given Susan when he first met her. It seemed to John to be a long time ago. He spoke resolutely. Right, let's go. Now is good. I like now. We'll go in my car if you like. I was hoping you'd say that. Susan's got mine. Try not to worry. She's very good at looking after herself. Survival skills and all that. I bloody hope so, he said softly. On the stairs where Lindsay had been sitting, John could see the tea towel with Welcome to Hemel Hempstead written on it. He parked the car in the same spot he had occupied the previous evening by the cricket pavilion. It was a mild night with clouds obscuring the moon and stars, but there was plenty of light coming from the lamp-posts in the nearby roads to illuminate almost the whole area around the marquee. Several caravans formed a half-circle, wagon train style around the rear of the marquee. Most had lights behind their little net curtains, and many were flickering with the telltale glimmer of television screens. Any idea who these people are? They might know something. Are they part of your stage crew? Asked John as they got out of the car. He took a large torch from the boot and they set off towards the marquee. No, I don't know who they are. Maybe the people who put up the tent. Our lot would have been home in bed ages ago, and you can never get in touch with Zoldini. He wouldn't care anyway. They were walking past a marquee across the cricket field towards a car parked by the canal. There, that's my car. That's odd. The driver's door's open. The keys aren't there. She must have taken them with her. John was looking at the front of the car. Come and have a look at this. The ground was very soggy and both wheels had sunk into the deep grooves in the turf. Mud was also splattered along the sides and the doors as if the wheels had spun with someone making a frantic effort to drive away. She must have got stuck, obviously, and walked off to get some help. Because my sister's phone has no battery again, probably. There it is on the back seat. I'm right. It's dead as a doornail. But where would she have gone? She put the phone in her coat pocket. The only other vehicle nearby was a huge four-wheel drive estate car parked further along the bank of the canal. As they approached it, John shined the torch on the windows. It was full of sleeping young men packed in like sardines. Tapping on the windows produced no reaction from those inside, apart from a youth in the driving seat who opened one eye, poked his middle finger in the air, and went to sleep again. John was just about to increase the force of his window tapping when Lindsay called out from where she stood on the edge of the canal. "Hey," she said, "bring your torch over here. What do you make of these?"